I like doing these videos every now and then when I pretty much challenge myself on describing, being more personal of who I am, what it is that I want to do, why it is I want to do it, and how I'm doing it. I every single moment of my life is a exploration. This is a discovery and an exploration. I discover new things within me every single day because I allow my curiosity to really just take over, just take over me, just take over my life. I'm not afraid to satisfy my curiosity. I'm not afraid to so called, excuse me, I just want to turn this light on real quick. I'm not afraid to so called like fail. As a matter of fact, I embrace failure. And not only failure, I'm not afraid to take losses. And I believe a lot of people are afraid of not only failing, are afraid of losing. Society has encouraged, or has, I guess you could say, even brainwashed us to believing that winning all the time is a good thing. And it's actually not. Because the more you win, I will say, the less of an opportunity you have to become resilient. I will argue that it's impossible, or nearly impossible, that virtually you cannot become resilient by always winning all the time. Now, this is coming from somebody with a very, 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 very strong athletic background, extremely strong athletic background. I've played the most competitive sport that you can think of, and I was obsessed, still am, still obsessed with it, such as football. But there are things in football that definitely translates to life. Football has, I credit football a lot to the type of person, the man that I am today. I don't believe that I will be fully of the person I am today if I did not play football. I have learned so much about myself, so much about life. I have developed so many great habits and ethics and morals by being a football player. That's why I argue that I believe, if not football, I will say football, but if not football, at least a sport that every person should get involved at a very young age of playing sports. And why is that? Because it goes back to my point of resilience. Because we need to, at a very young age, we need to teach kids how to lose. Not instill just win consistently into their minds. Because if that's all what they are focused on doing, they're not going to understand when they do lose in life. Because you are going to take shots and you are going to fail in life. So when they do experience loss and failure, when they get older, they will not know how to deal with it. And people, they shy away from doing things. It's a book I'm writing, and it's called The Do Effect. I'm writing a lot of different books, actually. I don't want to use the word try, but I do try. I guess I don't know what other word to choose, but I do try not to write so many different things at one time. But sometimes, like how my mind works, like how inspiration, like how it fluctuates through my mind, and just these different ideas, how they come across my mind. I have the ability to compartmentalize these different ideas and these different thoughts into different projects that I'm building. So it's very, I can stay completely focused on one thing. I can be hyper focused on one thing, but I do realize that I do gain a lot of leverage when I am able to compartmentalize different projects, and when certain ideas and inspirations flow through me, I will understand that this idea does not work with this project that I'm working on, but it definitely works with the other project that I can do later on down the line. So I add to it. I add to different things here and there pretty much almost every single day, and that gives me more leverage because now I'm not only staying so focused on just one thing, but I also can take time from this and I can move on to this. I am a firm believer in being spontaneous, and I'm not going to, if a thought comes into my mind, I'm not going to ignore that thought. If my spirit has given me this great idea, this great inspiration, I think it's stupid. That's what I'm saying about challenging this conventional wisdom and morality herd, because people in this same consistent idea, because the vast majority of people will say, oh, you got to stay focused on one thing, you got to just put your all into this one thing, and we are so much more than just one thing. And people likes to limit our minds and limit us in saying that you cannot stay focused if you do other things. And I just disagree with that. I believe the human mind is beyond measure. If we understand our minds, we can do whatever the hell we want to do, however we want to do it. Just because you do it this way, just because you believe it should be done this way, doesn't mean that I should do it this way. You're you and I'm me. The difference between you and me is that I have an infinite amount of belief in my abilities. I believe I can do whatever it is that I think that I can do, however it is that I want to do it. And I don't limit myself on that. I believe at the end of the day, as long as you are doing, that's all that matters. As long as you are becoming, that's all that matters. You can do it however it is that you want to do. Learn from your own experiences. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from your failures. Learn from your loss and become resilient. Just do it. Do not get caught up in the paralysis analysis when you want to do something and you want to become perfect, and you start hearing all these other experts and so-called professionals, and they have this way and this blueprint of doing that. No, screw the blueprint. Screw what they are saying how it should be done. You know exactly how it should be done. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying that you don't learn from other people. You don't learn from other people's mistakes. And I'm not saying that so much just completely not listen to other people. But I would say is completely not to listen to other people if you have not listened to your own self. And this is what I mean by listening to yourself, listening to your experiences, listening to your spirit, not doing what you think what you should do, not doing how you think you should do it, but truly immersing yourself completely immersing yourself completely in solitude of discovering your subconscious mind and listening to your spirit. So I do these videos. I don't really have like a time frame of when I do these type of videos. Is when I'm really challenging myself, challenging my mind of who I am and why I do the things I'm doing and how I define myself. I just do it whenever at random times. The last video that I really just freestyled. I mean, all these videos pretty much are freestyle. I pretty much say a lot of these videos from the top of my mind. There's probably like one to three videos that I actually had a script, and I was following along with my script every now and then. But pretty much all these videos I just speak. But specifically this type of video, these kind of videos, I just challenge myself. It's I guess it's something I just came up with. It's just I challenge myself to really, see, like, how do I define myself? What do I think of? Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? How am I doing it? And it really just from my mind, just speaking. Giving myself more clarity, and I believe it's healthy. I believe it's productive. I believe it's effective to do it, and to record myself on doing this, and so I can share with people, with you, because I believe that it can inspire you to discover yourself and to explore forever until the day you die. Talk to yourself, speak to yourself, listen to yourself before you discover any kind of external forces or anything. You are enough. You have infinite amount of abundance of value within you, just waiting to just produce and distribute and create. But resilience, train yourself to be resilient. Train yourself to not be fazed by losses. Train yourself to not be fazed by failures. The more you do, the more you will fail, and the more you will take loss. But when you start practicing on how to be, I guess you can say, a gracious loser, that is when you really get into the meat of expansion, of expanding, because now you're learning, you're experiencing. That's the key right there. The key isn't always winning. It's experiencing and learning and becoming and developing and changing. And you keep doing that. You are into the process of self-actualization, of chasing, of reaching the highest potential of yourself. And that's what keeps a lot of people from doing, of acting, of creating, because they're afraid of not winning. They're afraid of losing. They're afraid of failure. Embrace it. Perhaps the new winning could be failing. The new winning could be taking loss, because at the end of the day, when you do experience these things, in essence you are actually winning, because it's all about just becoming better than what you were yesterday. I don't care how many wins you gather. It's doing nothing but stroking your ego, because if you're not becoming better, your wins means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. What means the most out of everything is becoming better every single second here on out till the day you die than you were a second ago. Remember your future. Dedicate every fiber of your being, of becoming a better you. And so I do like to think of myself. I just recently thought about this phrase. I thought about, I study a lot of different things, and I thought, I was like, I would like when people see me, I would like for them to think of me as, I use these terms, polymath, and I have said that I'm a I have a mind of a psychopath, because I'm not a psychopath, but I do believe that adapting some mental traits of a psychopath is very, very effective, of becoming a better you, and accepting loss, and accepting failure, and not caring about how others think of you and how others perceive you. You don't care. There is no remorse for that at all. And I believe it's actually a healthy trait. I believe that's actually a healthy way of thinking, of being. And so I say I'm a philomath, I'm a polymath, I'm a curious, obsessive person, I'm a value creator. But most of all, I guess you can also say when people listen to me, when they come around me, when you think of me, you think of me as data. Because data is not just, I would say, just numbers and charts. It's the lifeblood of innovation. It's the foundation of progress. It's the key to unlocking endless possibilities. Like, just as data is invaluable and transformative and transcending, I strive to be resourceful and a valuable force in everything I do. So I am this obsessive, curious, value creating philomath, polymathic, driven by an insatiable hunger for knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom. My mind operates with a relentless drive, consuming data and information, equipping myself with high demand skills, and challenging the status quo. Consuming, not only consuming, but also creating. I place a high value on resilience, money, wealth, power, prosperity, and then when it's all said and done, legacy. I am not afraid of failure. I challenge you to not be afraid of failure. In fact, I embrace it, as we spoke and as we said this before. Constantly pushing myself beyond measures, beyond my limits of resilience to my own failures. I challenge societal norms and perspectives, believing that not everything perceived as bad is truly bad, and not everything perceived as good is truly good. I will say this, and I will end on this note. The one that got non, and I will stress more on this idea, on this topic while I end the video on this. But the one non-negotiable evil is neglecting oneself. And I guess I say this is two non-negotiable evils. It's neglecting oneself and not having the freedom to choose. Ignoring your spirit. Like I said before, I said this before in the last video. It will cost you. Neglecting yourself will cost you. You will self-destruct eventually. Ignoring your spirit imprisons you, and lacking the freedom to choose, or I guess you could say, and lacking the ability of the freedom to choose enslaves you. True goodness comes from having the freedom to choose between good and evil and choosing good. Because you listen to your spirit. And I'll end with this. I mean, I would say those who knows me closely, they know that I have an obsession with Batman. I really love Batman. Batman is my favorite superhero ever, and I believe it's a fact that he is the greatest superhero ever. But I will just say that the reason why I say that is because there is a lot of philosophical life lessons that you can learn from Batman. Because the story of Batman, because having the freedom to choose between good and evil and choosing good makes you a good person. Not just doing good things makes you a good person. So when Batman discovered that his parents were murdered when he was only 11 years old, he never experienced evil like that his entire life, and he could have decided to be the victim of his circumstance, and he decided not to. And what he decided to do, instead of being the victim of his circumstance, he decided to push himself beyond his limitations. And he became Batman. He had a vision. He had a vision of who he wanted to become, and his purpose, his why, was to not allow anybody experience the type of evil that he experienced, the type of feelings that he felt when he was at that young age. This is why Batman is the greatest superhero ever. He at a time experienced the worst evil ever, and he found the meaning in his suffering. And so can you. Think about what I said.